You're now the host.
Okay, we're recording. Do you want to go ahead and start, Nicole?
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for staying on the line. We'll try to make this brief. We're going to go probably about 15 minutes or so. Dee and I just wanted to take some time to discuss a little bit about what probably our greatest acquisition tool. Wouldn't you agree that Facebook is probably our number one acquisition tool because of relationships? And this business is really hard to do well in if you don't like people. So I remember years ago in one of our trainings, they were talking about the top things that you want to ask somebody if they want to become a coach. And it was, do you like people and are you coachable? I think those are the only two requirements. And it's so true, even still today, that if you can be the greatest entrepreneur and have lots of big dreams about a business you'd like to grow, but if in your heart of hearts you don't like people, it's not going to happen, because this business is all about loving people where they are and linking arms with them and walking with them where they want to go. We have a great plan. We've got a great, predictable, transformative plan. It's studied at Johns Hopkins. We have all the right stuff. We are bulletproof in our offering. However, people are not super predictable, right? In general, we are not sure what they're going to say, how they're going to feel. And so all we can do is come alongside and be ready to offer whatever it is they need, within reason, of course. But we can see a lot of that on Facebook, right? We can watch what our clients are doing and how people are feeling and interact with them on a really broad level. And so when we're interacting on Facebook, and how we show up on Facebook is really important. And that's what Dee and I wanted to cover tonight. Not just how you reach out to somebody, but how you are showing up yourself, how you're interacting with others, how you're living your life out loud on Facebook. One big thing that isn't covered very often is, if you are a health coach and you would or Optavia coach, which we are now rather than health, we are Optavia coaches. We do not post our political views on Facebook. Why? Because it's a divider. It's a dividing line. And if you are a really strong Republican, your Democrat friends do not want to hear about it. And sometimes, well, and even God forbid, it be the reason they don't reach out to you because of how you're posting your political views on Facebook. That's just one example, and it could be a lot of other examples too. And so we want to be in a place that allows us to be approachable and inspiring. And one of the stories I wanted to share tonight, it's one of my very favorite stories of Susan Palace. If you've heard it, forgive me. Enjoy. Is she still on the line? I don't see her. But this is my forever favorite story of Joy and Susan. I had this great idea that Susan was going to lay on the floor when training and hold this body bar up above her head. And I said, Joy, you're going to straddle over Susan and you're going to hold this bar, and Susan's going to pull herself up and do pull-ups while you're holding onto the bar. So if you can imagine, here's Susan and here is, right? Okay, straddle. I'm telling you, it was hysterical. So Susan's like, are you sure you're going to hold me? And so Joy is holding on. And then Joy looks at Susan in the face and goes, hurry up. This is hard. And Susan says, you are not inspiring me to greatness right now. It is one of my very favorite stories because I feel like that sometimes. I feel like that with clients, and like the way that we're posting on Facebook, like if you are not inspiring people to greatness, leave it off of Facebook. Like, let's just not use it as a place to vent or I don't know. It's not like you don't want to be real, because you're still a real person. But be someone that people want to stalk you. If no one is stalking you, this is a problem, okay? I really think we should be able to know how many people are stalking our Facebook. But the reality is if you are living your life out loud, if you're doing what Tia Wood says about kicking fear in the face and just being who you are and showing up, people are stalking you on Facebook. And you know it when out of the blue, somebody reaches out to you or somebody says, I heard about you through blah, blah, blah. You know people are watching you on Facebook. And just as April was talking about people that are liking their posts, people, and then she reaches out to them, hey, thanks for liking my post. Find different ways for you to be relatable on Facebook. This is a great acquisition tool, right? Find what's different about you. Okay, so for example, my daughter has Down syndrome. Am I trying to market her Down syndrome in the month of October? No. But can I use it as a way to interact with people that may not be reaching out to me all the time? Absolutely. Have I had any time to reach out to anyone that has posted on my Facebook yet? No. But it's there and they're interacting, and I get at the end of the month, and if you've ever done a Health and Hope night or a Health and Hope 30 days of Health and Hope on Facebook, you'll hear people say, I looked for your post every day because I knew I could expect it. It's this place of expectancy that people know when they go to your page, they're going to be inspired to greatness, like Susan would like to be forever inspired to greatness. They're going to know that they're going to get positivity. Isn't it true? Like, you avoid someone's negative Facebook like the plague, okay? There's a little great button you can push that says unfollow. You might consider that for some people. Maybe not unfriend them, but unfollow them so that you're staying in a place of positivity. And if you're reading a bunch of junk from your friends who are not super positive, that's really brings you down as well. So I wanted to go over those two things. And then the other thing that I wanted to cover, and I'll turn it over to Dee, is in terms of, we are a part of a global team. So we have this great, amazing team called Optavia, and we all work together. We cross lines all the time. And one of my favorite things over the last, I guess, year now is that Dee and I are sisters, right, in the business, and our businesses don't financially benefit each other at all. But I'll tell you, the best benefit has not, it's even better that it doesn't benefit financially, because what our partnership has done has moved both of our businesses forward in a way we both didn't expect. And so it's been so neat that we share a lot of things, and we share together and grow together. There are people, I'm sure you all love Kevin and Becca Tinter's posts, and Nancy Strauss, and all these really great people. And though you may not be friends with everyone they are friends with, it's important that we respect people's posts. You may copy a post and share it on Facebook, but we definitely want to recommend that you wait at least a few days. Put it in a folder and wait a few days so that your same post isn't immediately populated after someone else posts it. Because as our worlds begin to collide, which they are, which is great, but our worlds collide. And so some of our mutual friends who are considering are like, oh, I just saw, oh, wait, and that one, oh, and sometimes we think, well, that's kind of cool that we're all doing the same thing. But it also can get inundating, right, for our friends that we're trying to expose gently. It kind of becomes like a 2x4 over their head, that there's the same story 5 times in a row. And so share, what we want to recommend is that if Susan is your mentor coach, or Dee or myself, that you can share your mentor coach's full share. Because what it does is it connects you to your mentor coach. Right? So for Leslie may love April's post. And so since April is Leslie's mentor coach, Leslie can say, my mentor coach posted this today and it so resonated with me, I wanted to share this with my Facebook world or something, right? Because then she's connecting herself to April, and that's a great thing. Shows that she's a part of a bigger organization, right? Versus I took this and I posted this on, and it may be the same thing. Does that make sense to everyone? Like, in terms of, for our team here and our team at large, to, if you see a really great post, like none of us are connected to Nancy Strauss. I'll give this example. If you loved her post today, It's fine. You don't need to ask her if you can share it. I see a lot of that. May I share this? May I post this? May I share this? Okay. Don't ask. You can. Just don't post it right away. Okay. Copy the information, copy the picture, put it in a folder, and so that you can come back to these great posts at another time that's not reposting immediately. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that? Everybody's cool and on board. Excellent.
Well, one thing just to make sure people know is that, because you mentioned sharing their mentor coach, but I even recommend not sharing. I recommend copying and pasting on your own, but you can acknowledge your mentor coach. So this is what my coach did, or right? I mean, because even though because if you share something, it goes back to the coach.
Agreed. But what I'm saying is that I wouldn't share something of Dee's because we're not in the same line of sponsorship.
Correct.
Right?
I would share something anyway. Even in the line of sponsorship.
If it's in your direct line of sponsorship, that's what I'm meaning, because that's really great for, let's say Leslie's world to be exposed to April because Leslie's a new coach. Then she can see that, wow, there is somebody who Leslie's connected to that's living this great healthy lifestyle. And so I think that direct line is okay. And the reason we don't repost someone else's share is because we don't want to lead someone else to somebody else's page and not know where they came from. Okay. So just know that that's one thing to consider. And then the second thing to consider is just leaving some room and space and time as we repost each other's things, which is just fine to do. But if it's something to be done, if it's time sensitive, then share it and just be mindful. That's all we're asking about, is just being mindful around it. Dee, do you want to pick up?
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate a little bit off of what you said. And I would recommend that you watch last night's leadership call with the girl, Leslie. I think she had some fantastic tips. And social media, Facebook, I mean, it really is a great platform to connect with a lot of people, stay connected with people. But again, remember, it's just a layering technique, and not everybody's on social media. So we still have to continue our connections outside of that as well. But one thing that Leslie said last night that I just want to reinforce, because it follows with what Nicole was saying, is that, we want to be real and we want to be authentic on social media, because that's what builds trust and what makes us different from other people, because other people do use social media for their businesses, and sometimes it doesn't appear authentic, or it seems very duplicated and very salesy and whatever, and that's not who we are, and that's not what we want to represent. So I would challenge everybody. I mean, social media is a skill, and it's a skill that you want to learn to develop. So even coming up with your own wording for a post and putting your flair and your style on it is important, because it's going to seem more like you. If you've got a funny hashtag you like to say, put it on there, because make it sound like you, rather than somebody else's wording. And the few things I wanted to say that I have learned is that when we do share, now they talked about 3 posts per day was what one of the tips was. I encourage you to space those tips out throughout the day, because if you put one on top of the other, they're going to conflict with each other in the algorithms, and not all your people will see all 3. So you do want to space them out, and recognize too that not everything is a call to action. So sometimes you're just going to share, check out Susie, I'm so inspired by her story. That's all you have to say. It doesn't have to be, check out Susie, I'm inspired by her story. If you want optimal health, contact me, send me a private message. We don't have to put that call to action on it. What you may do in another post, because maybe you have a new connection and you just want them to know, the next post might be something like, as a health coach, I love helping people with the tools and knowledge to move forward in their health. So people know, they'll private message you. So I find that there's very rarely a need to say, hey, contact me, unless we're doing something special, like a focus group or something like that, like a real call to action. So we want to be inspiring. Like Nicole said, we want to leave people wanting more. So, don't give it away. Like somebody actually, one of my mentors, even above Susan, had said to me, stop putting so many lean and green recipes out there. Stop. Like, don't give away all the secret sauce, maybe tease them now and then with something, but, just keep it so that it's engaging. And the more you can make a comment or put maybe a question on it and get some interaction, the more your post will still continue to show up in other people's timelines. And we do want to live out loud and show all parts of the trilogy. I thought that was a really good point last night that she made, is it's not, we don't want to get too caught up with just showing before and afters or menus or make it too much about the physical health, that we want to show about the other benefits that we gain as health coaches as well. It might be a picture of you working on your office from your deck or something like that, so that people can see the flexibility that you have. And I think really that was my main point. And the power of Facebook, I wanted to share a story with you guys. So about a year ago, once a year, Larry and I, we rent a lake house up in North Carolina. And one of our neighbors introduced us to somebody. She said, oh, you might know Jim. He lives in Marietta, Georgia, and you really should meet him. Oh my gosh, you should see this house he has, yada, yada. So we went over and met Jim, and Jim on the outside appears like he has everything, right? He's got the house on the lake, and he's got all the toys and the souped up cars and travels and whatever. But first thing I noticed was he was extremely unhealthy. And so, I just got to know him. It never even came up what I did, but I just made a point that I connected with him on Facebook, connected with him on Instagram. I never really had a reason to go out and do a private behind the scenes. And sometimes I even had a hard time liking his posts because a lot of them were unhealthy food related, and I couldn't even think of anything clever to say that didn't sound judgmental. But I just stayed in touch with him and liked what I could. And this weekend, I got a call from him, and he was like, do you remember me? And I said, yeah. And he said, I've been watching all your stuff and I need your help. So people are out there and they're just watching, even if you don't see them liking your stuff. So stay connected with them and like their stuff so that it shows up in their feed, and you never know what might come forward. I mean, that was one of the biggest things. I was like, I can't wait to help this man.
What a great story. And that's exactly how it works. And one distinction that I have heard and that I use is that Facebook and y'all, Facebook is a marketing tool. It's a way to generate interest. But there's no one becomes a client on Facebook. Facebook is a way to generate interest, and then they call you to have the conversation to do your health assessment. So just make that distinction, because, and I loved what both of y'all shared, and Dee said, that you don't really need to have the call to action there. I think that that's a really good, I like not having that sometimes. I think it's better. And, but so y'all just did rock the house on that one. And if y'all haven't listened to the tape last night, really were great tips. And you just guys drove it home for our team even more. So any last words? Because y'all were, thank you. Any questions? You got experts here. Even though it's late, you got experts right here.
We're going to think of our questions later. You know how that goes.
Absolutely. Post them on Team Palace, and we'll just get them going there. So that would be great. And actually, I don't know if Gina is on the call, but Gina Martin, I don't know if you're on the call, but she created, I had this sheet that I use when I go do talks, kind of explains our program. And Gina's like this marketing expert. And so she took my sheet and like made it like so good. I mean, she took my little, too many words, and she just made it just awesome. And she asked me today, do you want me to share it with the team? And I said, oh, that'd be awesome. So I'm going to have her share it with the team tomorrow. So anytime you guys create something, like take something we have and make it better, talk to your business coach and, ask them if it's okay, just post it on Team Palace. It's just a forum for us all. Again, keep it positive, no complaining, complain in private and celebrate in public. So anyway, Dee and Nicole, close it out.
Go out and inspire everyone to greatness.
Consistency.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night.